Hey, fearless mamas. I am Dancee Pinkston, and I am so proud of you for looking for options and ways to prepare for your birth. So make sure to stay tuned and watch until the end to gain all of the bonuses and all of the insight that I will be revealing in this recording. So I am a certified birth doula, birth educator, mom of 2 girls, and wife to my high school sweetheart since 2012. I love practicing motherhood mindfulness, creating intentional moments, and capturing moments and memories. I take lots of pictures. I love riding bikes and swinging in a hammock and nature sightseeing, all things I love to do as a child, and relaxing in the tub, of course. So, some of my mottos is to sink into joy in this pregnancy. I started my journey into the birth world when I was pregnant with my first daughter, like any mom. I had a very negative birth perception about birth until a friend, you can see her pictured right there, shared her positive natural birth experience, and I was just like blown away. I was not even considering that option at all, but her story just gave me so much hope that I could have a different experience than what I was used to seeing and hearing. So she gave me a few resources, and I immediately started preparing for my birth. I was actually so shocked at what I was learning, but also intrigued and knew I had this like big passion for this. So I knew right then that my calling was to experience what I like to call a fearless birth. So as I dug deeper, it sent me on a rabbit trail, and I'm not kidding. I suddenly was just so overwhelmed with fear and all of the research and the options. But my bachelor's degree in nutritional sciences helped me learn how to read complex research and opinions. This came in handy when understanding evidence-based care and things like that. So then after weeks of research, I had a breakthrough and was completely excited to experience birth for the first time in all its fullness and joy. So I ended up having a great fast hospital birth experience and a few little kinks and things like that, but it still was so good. In fact, I couldn't wait to give birth again. So I feel like that journey really shaped my whole parenting journey, and shaped who I am today and what I'm most passionate about. So all because that one friend had shared her positive birth story with me, I have been inspired to learn about the process of birth and to create inspiring resources for expecting parents since 2017 when my first daughter was born. So, lots of years of research and learning. But what I didn't have is an organized system yet for mamas to know what I had discovered. Even my own sister, I was heartbroken, had a traumatizing birth experience. I was devastated and angry that something so magical and empowering to me was stolen from her. And I felt like I had the tools to teach her, but I just didn't know how to get it to her in an effective way yet. Then I said, never again. My sister's story gave me a burning desire to create resources in a way that cuts out the fluff and gives busy moms a precise game plan, essentially to set them up for a positive experience instead of feeling overwhelmed with information. I learned something spectacular after each one of my births, and I gained experience and even more insight after mentoring pregnant mamas online and attending live births. So super cool experiences. I also extended my knowledge with all the stuff that I was learning with a birth doula certification. That just solidified everything and helped everything come together. So what I've learned after all those years of experience, my biggest light bulb that just is fueling my fire today is birth is transformational. And birth prep is so much more than achieving a smooth and blissful birth. It's empowering women because empowered women can see right through fear, make informed decisions, and have the power to flip an entire culture. I really believe that. It starts with birth. It essentially is a revolution, and it is time to return to birth's ancient awe and respect, where women are transformed forever, raising the next generation in their full power. And I truly believe that this information is going to be, what you learn from, this is going to be passed down to your kids and their kids to just completely change a whole culture. So you can have your dream birth. What if I told you a fearless birth is for every woman? What if I told you a fearless birth is for whatever birth you choose or end up having? Because it is. Most birth classes or courses don't work because they focus too much on head knowledge with little to no focus on preparing emotions, mind and soul, nor the education on the hormonal and anatomical blueprint that is already within you. What would it feel like to no longer be afraid of birth and instead feel fearless, excited, and peaceful about birth? What would it feel like to feel empowered and enlightened, sitting on your own strength and just trusting the birth process? It's powerful for even going into motherhood. Because bottom line, fear causes pain in birth. And that's what we should be focusing on, right? Just reshaping our minds and getting those negative birth perceptions out. You are definitely being lied to. I know I was. There is not any talk about the natural, euphoric, pain-killing endorphins that are released in birth. You are being lied to. Birth can be practically painless, and I use that word practically because there is some work to do. But yes, you're not going to be, miserable or anything of the sort. So you have a natural birth hormone blueprint that runs the show. Your body and baby will know exactly what to do, and the event can actually feel ecstatic. And definitely in between those contractions, you'll get waves of this joy and ecstaticness, or blissfulness is how I would describe it. So, but the truth is, our society is not supporting this birth blueprint and actually is causing more pain and trauma to our mamas. Okay, so I just want to encourage you to unlock your fearless with me. Maybe you're wondering if you can do this or if this type of birth is right for you. This is for anyone who wants a better birth experience with a simple roadmap to unlock a fearless mama birth. There are different levels, I might add, to birth satisfaction, and it can look different for each one of us. Your dream birth may not look like mine at all, or like other people's you've seen. And for example, a water birth. And that's the beauty of this formula. Each key you unlock gets you closer to that full-blown ecstatic birth experience. But even if you unlock just a few keys or even parts of keys, like let's say you want to get an epidural, so you're unlocking all the other keys, but you decide to get an epidural, it's going to be way better than if you had not prepared at all. This is for you if you want to save immense amounts of time researching and preparing. I have read 10 plus books. I was trying to count them all, but I'm pretty sure 10 or more. And years of research to know what I know. And none of them have all the concepts that I should teach in this one single book or place. So if you want to save the overwhelm and the stress for planning your next party and your birth, the truth is, I have all the tools for you. And this is not a baking recipe where you can just eyeball the ingredients. This is birth. This is serious. And birth is very final. There is no reset button once it begins. And that's your birth experience once it's done. So, like I said, very impactful and empowering. And you can flip a whole culture with just what you gain from that experience. So a physiological birth is pretty predictable. When interventions become introduced and fear triggers come into play, though, things can start to get a little hairy. So education on that is super important. You don't have to choose an unmedicated birth, I might add, but you need to know the importance of preparing your mind and learning coping techniques and different positions that work for you to, get those labor hormones going, also to support, just the labor process, baby head engagement, etc. So because birth typically happens however it wants and whenever it wants, and with my strategies, it may happen fast. So yeah, it happens however it wants and whenever it wants. So you might miss the window for an epidural because of just how fast it's going to happen. Or you may be on a bumpy car ride for your entire labor that you did not plan for, like what happened to me. So I don't want you to freak out, but instead embrace and take control whatever happens in your birth. It's pretty much predictable but unpredictable, if you know what I'm saying. So if I would have not released my birth story and prepared my mind, I would not have been as calm and peaceful as I was. There's just no doubt about it. I had certain coping tools that I was using in the car, and it completely saved my birth experience from being, traumatizing. So think about this once in a lifetime experience. What would an empowering, gentle birth experience do for you? Think about the family experience. I connected so deeply with my husband, and it was just a special, special experience. And the ripple effect it will have on your family. Imagine, or to other women, think of my friend who inspired me. Imagine how good it will feel to say, I did it with joy. Yeah, just super, super special. What if I told you it was a simple birth prep strategy? With my birth clients, especially with first-time moms, I love to do something called the ice prep technique. The first try, so we hold ice in our hands, and the first try, I ask them to use 0 coping schools or start like kind of this baseline of not knowing how to do it. These mamas can barely hold this piece of ice, including myself. If I'm not using coping tools, I can't even hold it for no longer than 30 seconds, if that. So after applying just a few of my mind techniques I teach, these mamas can make it to past 1 minute, no problem. And myself. They instantly become confident in their strength and realize that they can do this. They can birth. Okay, this is a fun one. So birth perception. I show my clients this book cover and ask them what they see and how it makes them feel. What do you see in this picture? There are 2 lenses you could view this picture as: fear and pain, or power and coping well. This is most definitely a positive birth roar coming from a fearless mama. And I just want to tell you this little story. I showed my husband this picture. He, does not know any of the birth lingo. He's only seen me birth and just kind of is zoomed in on just those birth perceptions. He did have one in the past until I kind of started, introducing to him, a positive birth perception. So I showed him this, and he was like, I said, "What do you see?" And he was like, "I see, it looks like she's roaring like a lion." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, like you have such a good birth perception," because it's definitely a power roar. It's definitely how she is coping with labor and, yeah, childbirth without fear. She's doing it essentially practically pain-free. That's what this book is almost all about. And then I asked another friend to check it out, and they were like, "Oh, agony, pain, fear." And so that was the negative birth perception that you could look at it. So you could use these two things, the ICE prep. You could go ahead and do that on your own, or look at this book and see, do you have the tools to cope with labor? Do you have a negative birth perception? And see if you need further help. So since we were little girls, your birth experience was fed to you and programmed your brain to think birth is painful, and that we can't. We were told we are cursed and need help delivering because our pelvises are too small, which is a complete lie, and that's what I kind of walk you through. So let's see. So now I'm going to reveal how simple it is to have a blissful, fearless birth, so you can take charge of your birth and step into motherhood feeling empowered and knowing how to listen to your mama intuition, because fearless mamas raise fearless children. And like I said, you're going to take this into motherhood. The skills that you're learning can be used forever and passed down. So I will catch you in the next video, where I'll reveal the 4 keys to unlock a fearless mama birth. Lots of insight on how you're going to do this, and you don't want to miss it. So head on over. All right.